Hello, I'm Thomas, and I created Crow Authentication. Crow Authentication is a super simple and easy way to integrate authentication with any application, regardless of framework or language. It's all just a set of APIs underneath, so as long as your application has a connection to the internet, you can integrate Crow with it. I wanted to walk through today just how easy it is to set up a new project using Next.js and Vercel, hosting it on Vercel. Crow Authentication itself, at least the front end, is actually hosted on Vercel, so we'll get a good idea of how everything actually functions under the hood and show you how it actually, how a new application would look. So I've already created an account, but once you sign in, you'll be greeted with a page like this on the profile page. From here, we'll go ahead and create a new application. And a new application in Crow is just an entity. This is something that will be integrated with a server. You can have two different applications, a dev and a prod, or you can have as many as you'd like. Crow doesn't actually care about how many applications you have, just however many users are present on each application. So once our new application is created, we'll be greeted with an information page like this. This bold text up here is actually our application ID. We'll be needing that later, and we'll come back here. Once we click this drop down, we'll also get to see some other information about the application, like the secret, the amount of users that have signed up for it, the state. It can get into a suspended state, but I don't think you have to worry about that for a while. There's verification and reset password URLs, and these we will have to change, but we'll get back to that in just a second after we deploy our application to Vercel. To do those changes, we'll just click Edit, change our URLs, click Save, and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to hop over to Vercel. If you've never used Vercel before, it's a very easy way to get a Next.js application up and running really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new project and import a third-party Git repository. Here I'm going to copy the Git repository that I've created to help you speed up your integration with Crow. All the API calls underneath are all fleshed out for you, and the authentication for the application itself is also done. More on that later though. After we have the URL, go ahead and paste it into Vercel. Go ahead and create this on my personal account and create a Git repository. I'll call it Crow Auth Demo, and I'll call my project Crow Auth Demo. Now is where we'll need a little bit of configuration from Crow in the environment variables. So we'll hop back over to the example repository, and in this utils folder, there's a file called Git Application JWT. This is where we'll need two environment variables specific to our application. So for Crow, an application has to authenticate itself with Crow before it can start making requests on its user's behalf. So this is pretty much you authenticating to Crow, telling Crow your application is indeed your application, and then you can start making requests to Crow itself on behalf of your application. It's authentication before the authentication, really. Those authenticated calls come in looking something like this. So this is in the API pages. If anyone's not used to Next.js, this would pretty much be server side if you're coming from a traditional web application background. In the server side, we can put secrets, we can hide the secrets, and they won't get leaked in the front end in any public way. So we can, this is where we would make calls to Crow on our user's behalf. After we get the application JWT, we present it as a bearer token to Crow to sign our users in, verify emails, reset passwords, and the like. So that's where it all plays in. Coming back here, I'll go ahead and create our environment variables. We have our application ID, and we have our application secret. It's invisible, or it's blurred by default. That's on purpose. You can copy and paste it from blurred, or you can make it visible. The reason it's blurred from the start is simply because I don't want anyone to see your application secret if they're looking over your shoulder or anything like that. So after we've got those environment variables filled out, we'll go ahead and hit deploy. If you've ever used Vercel before, this will look pretty standard. It'll go through, it'll clone the project over to a new repository in GitHub for you, and then it will build and deploy the web application. I'll go ahead and speed this up, but once it's done, we'll be able to go and test out our new application. And there we go. Our application is up. Let's go ahead and visit it. So here's our new application. And now that we have this URL, I'm going to go ahead and make some configuration changes to our application. So the verification URL on this example repository is /profile/verify, and for reset password, it's /profile/reset password. Now these URLs are important because these come from Crow Authentication sending emails to your users, and then your users will be able to just click on a link. I'll show you that in a second when I go into the new application and create an account. So it's saved. We're good to go on the URLs. Let's hop back over to our application. I'll go ahead and hit profile. This will kick me back to a sign-in page. This is all just default though. I wanted to give you a quick and easy way to get up and running with authentication for a project. This is by no means what has to happen. If you would like, all of the user flows can be tailored, and all of this is up to you. I don't redirect users. I don't need to take over. I don't need to take control over the web application. It's all in your hands. So however you want to present this to the user, however you want to take in information, is all up for grabs. So in here, I'll go ahead and enter an email and password. Oh, sometimes when the browser autofills, there's a little bit of trouble making sure that the input is there. Go ahead and hit sign up again. Again, this is all up to you. If you would like to find a better way to do it, it's up for grabs. I'm not taking control over any of your application. So I'll hop over to my email, and there's my verification email. I'll go ahead and hit the latest link, and there's my verification token pasted in for me. I'll go ahead and hit verify, and I'm redirected to the sign-in screen. Let's go ahead and make sure I can still sign in with the username and password or the email and password I just created. And now you get your profile. So from this point on, the user's authenticated. We can sign in, we can sign out, we can reset password, and it's all up to you now to determine how you want to write your application further. The tokens are there, and it's very easy now to determine who is actually logged in to your front end and how they can make requests to your back end. It's the sky's the limit now. You're integrated with Crow, and you can start seeing your users go. So I'll go ahead, come back here and refresh, and we'll actually be able to see that our new application, we have one user, and that would be me. So this is all up for grabs now. Please check out Crow. Please look into it, and if you need any help creating applications or working with the APIs, integrating with any other language, I'd be more than happy to help out. Just contact me at either support@crowauth.com, or you can find me in blogs and on Indie Hackers, on Reddit, on Dev2. Please reach out and let me know what you think. Otherwise, have fun with it.